Hey family, I hope all is well with many of you. Greetings, greetings. Listen, I want to bring something to many of your attention, okay? But before I get started, let me give all honor what honors due. I want to give all honor to the Most High God, source of all things, source within. Now, with that being said, I want to bring something to many of your attentions, my brothers and sisters in the spirit. And may this message find you on time. Have you ever looked back on your life, okay? And I know for me, you find yourself like when it comes to certain jobs, you found yourself like in jobs that were really dark. The environment was really dark. You were, in the company of a lot of people who were negative, a lot of people who were complaining, and we know how that kind of energy, it transferred. Before you know it, you could be in a good space, and all of a sudden, that negative energy transfer over to you, and before you know it, you're negative on the job and you're complaining, okay, about the condition that's going on the job. But have you ever noticed you will find yourself in a space that will be negative, looking back over your life? And back then, before you came to your spiritual awakening, that environment was changing you. It was changing you. That's the difference. Sorry, fam, I had to pause. My little queen had came in asking me a question. But anyway, but I'm sure many of you get where I'm going with this, and I'm talking about you reflecting on your life before you came to your spiritual awakening. Let me just say that before you came to your spiritual awakening, okay? Because you're real now. You're real conscious of how you think, how important it is, how you think, as well as making sure you're protecting your energy and keeping your vibration where it needs to be, okay? To make sure you're not operating low vibrational. But before you came to your spiritual awakening, looking back over your life, okay, do you remember how you found, how you noticed you were placed? Let me just say that, how you were placed in certain situations, on the job, as far as, your environment, how it wasn't real positive at all. And people around you, due to them being negative, okay, it's people like that everywhere. It's not just on your job. You can have family members that's negative as well, okay? Even friends, associates. You could be out here, out and about, and somebody's negative around you. The point I'm trying to make is, have you ever noticed, before you came to your spiritual awakening, of, your environment, how toxic it was, how negative it was, and then it started to affect you? Yes, indeed. It will start to affect you. And before you know it, you're negative. You didn't start off being like that. You was pretty much neutral, But all of a sudden, you're negative. And then from there, you complain just like everybody else. It's like their energy rubbed off on you. Or should I say, was transferred to you. And, it's not like you change the environment. The environment changed you due to that toxic energy. I'm trying to make a point here. Now let's fast forward. Okay, you came to a spiritual awakening, and now you're more conscious of and more aware of vibration and frequency. You understand the importance of raising your vibration versus not raising your vibration. And you also understand the importance of renewing your mind, because our thoughts are energy. And many of you notice also you still find yourself being placed in environments that are still toxic and negative, especially on your job, because you can't help who you work with. But the difference is, compared to in the past, I'm speaking to somebody. Somebody understands what your sister's coming from. The difference is, it's like now you're changing the environment. You're changing the environment. Have you ever noticed people can be talking in a room and you come in and all of a sudden they might stop talking or whatever it is that they was talking about, all of a sudden they just change the conversation because you know them. You know how that crew operates. You know they talking about somebody or they complaining or they're just talking negative. But all of a sudden they change the conversation to something totally different, and it's a conversation that you don't mind including yourself in also. The conversation become more positive, okay? Because you stepped into the room. There's something about you, something about your energy that had changed the atmosphere. It's your light, family. Your light is expanding. Your energy in the room, the energy in the room, this is the point I'm trying to make, change because you stepped into that room due to your vibration. If you ever step into a room and the energy is toxic, well, one thing, if it if it's too toxic and you are someone who's high vibrational, it will bother you so bad that you couldn't stay in that you couldn't stay in that space too long. You would definitely distance yourself from that space, or from those group of people, just to feel, normal, shall I say. I mean, not feel sick to your stomach because a toxic, negative energy just make you feel just. I know for me, just sick to my stomach. I can't stand it. Another thing could happen is you step into that room and you change the atmosphere. Okay? You step into that room to where people stop being negative and all of a sudden you start talking and the environment change from negative to positive, and it's something about you, your energy, your light. It is transmuting that darkness, and it's something that you would have to see, family. You would have to see. Because I remember, let me say this real quick. I remember before I came to my spiritual awakening, I worked at the hospital, right? And I was this one girl. She was just, she was, let me just say this, she was more in tune with herself spiritually, She was religious also, but it's the way she carried herself. And she always had a positive vibe about her. And I loved her to death because I like being around positive people. I loved her to death and still do to this day. I love that sister. And no matter what was going on, during that time in our department, got distracted again. I apologize. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is my friend girl, she just always had a bubbly personality, okay? And when she came to a room, it was something about her energy. It would just change the atmosphere. We would all go, before she come in the room, we would all go from complaining due to the conditions that was going on in our department. And then when she come in, she would never, put her 2 cents in about it or anything. She would just come in and, speak, and we would all light up from seeing her, and she just sit down and start working, but she would never complain. And all of a sudden, it's like our energy would just die down, and we'll change the subject, and we start talking about something else. It's just something about her presence. It's like we had really respected her enough that we didn't want to be negative around her. That's the point I'm trying to make. So, getting back to many of you come to your spiritual awakening, have you ever noticed, looking back on your life, as far as how you used to be, your negative thinking, your negative speaking, how you used to be when you walked in a room and that environment didn't change you. If anything, you adapted to the environment and you took on that negative energy and just, carried on like everybody else, kept, they was talking negative, you were talking negative. They was complaining, you was complaining. But you walking in that space, it didn't change but one bit. And that was because, your vibration was not raised to where it can to where it could transmute the energy and flip it, shall I say, to raise it. But when you get to where you change, and you renew your mind and raise your vibration, like many of us have, we can walk in a room and change the atmosphere. And you will only know that for yourself. Now, if it's too toxic, you can still change that atmosphere to where it's not affecting you, to where those energies are not jumping on you and you're lowering your vibration, because that's the only way it's going to affect you unless you lower your vibration. Before you know it, you know, what they're saying is jumping off on you. Before you know it, you're complaining, you're being negative. But by you protecting your energy, raising your vibration, that toxic energy that they're giving off that's in the atmosphere, it wouldn't affect you. If anything, you would change it due to your energy, okay, due to your light that's bright, that transmute that darkness that's in that space. But it's amazing how many of us are placed in dark situations. We come here to be a light, to raise the vibrational frequency of this planet, family. And we can't do that if we're in a space that's positive. Okay, positive is positive. There must be darkness. You must be in a space of darkness to create change, okay? So that light can do its job and transmute the darkness. There is no change if it's just light, light, light. If it's just positive, 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 there's no change. But the ultimate change happens when light steps in the darkness. Darkness cannot exist where there's light. That's how you know when you're right on the inside. Because if you can walk in a negative environment, that negative environment should not affect you. It should not affect you. And if it's so toxic to where it make you feel sick to your stomach, the best thing to do is remove yourself from it. But don't adapt to it. Don't sit there and let it taint you on the inside, because if that happens, you're lowering your vibrational frequency. Let me just say it like that. Oh yeah, you can sense the negativeness. Oh, you can sense it. But don't let it get to you to where it affects you inwardly. That's when you know you're being infected. You're supposed to step into that room and change the atmosphere with your energy as well as your light that is within you. To where people are noticing the change and they go from being negative to positive. If anything, they stop talking all negative. They stop complaining because you stepped into that room, okay? It's something about you. They don't want to be negative around you. It's something about you. Just like my friend girl, it was just something about her. I didn't want to continuously be complaining on the job when she stepped into that room. Not only that I had love for her as my friend, but she was such a positive person. And I respected that, and I didn't want to be negative around her. So I shut it up. Like I said, it was her light that was bright. And she never, you know, complain on the job or anything. She was the kind of person, she just pray about things. That's the way she would deal with it. But if I was sitting on the job, just complaining amongst with everybody else, that was not her. Sitting around the job talking about people, that was not her. When I would talk with her, we talk about things that's outside of the job. But it was never, negative conversation. It was very pleasant. Some people just pleasant to be around. Some people just pleasant to talk to. Their energy is just so bubbly and it's addictive and it feels good to be around them. Versus those who are negative and like to start trouble and run their feet to evil. Family, expand your light. You come here to change things. You come here to change the atmosphere. Don't let the atmosphere change you. 'Cause if it's doing that while you with your so-called friends, and them having you running your feet to evil because you're trying to keep up. Your light on the inside is not bright enough. Your vibration is not high enough. If you're on that job, your coworkers are constantly complaining about the condition that's going on, instead of going into the office and talk to the management themselves, or you just being negative, period, around your coworkers. Their environment is changing you. Their environment is getting inside of you. You should be the one changing the environment. I knows what I'm talking about. My last job that I was working at, the environment had got inside of me. And this was before I came to my spiritual awakening. And I was nowhere where I am today. Today, the current today, oh, I would have changed the environment. And a lot of them probably would have, walked up out of the room because because I stepped into the room because they couldn't stand my light. They want me to adapt. They would have wanted me to adapt to what they was talking about, shall I say, or how they was as far as their energy. They would have wanted me to, be down on their level. Like they say, opposite attract. It's about the energy. It's about the energy, family. You either let it get inside of you, and if it happens, the energy that transfer, okay, that's because you didn't protect your energy field, and as well, you didn't raise your vibration, so it couldn't have gotten inside of you. It's all about raising your vibration. When you raise your vibration, no negative energy can affect you in a negative way to where it gets inside of you. You're the one that's supposed to change the atmosphere, not the atmosphere changing you. I know many of you got some good jobs, and I'm sure many of you are going through it, okay? Because every job, pretty much, especially if you're someone who's, have a high vibration, okay? If you're someone who light is bright, oh yes, indeed, you're definitely placed in a dark space, in a dark environment, and it's for a reason. It is for a reason. Family part of your purpose. See it for what it is. See it for what it is. Change the atmosphere. Expand your light so the environment would not affect you. You transmute that darkness. You change the environment. Peace and love to you.